But I couldn't believe they couldn't hold on to win that. I think it was Anthony Richardson 2-point conversion run, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, QB draw.
That's a shame.
I would have done
QB
it
draw.
too.
I mean, yeah, I would have done it too.
That's the call to play, honestly. So
yeah, that's the play to call in that situation. But in any case, how y'all doing, guys? It's your guy Kai. I'm joined by my guy Big Moon, waving at y'all all crazy. Like we're here for episode 29, man. 29. Episode 29. That's crazy when you really think about it. But episode 29, man, it's been a fun year, needless to say. But
yes,
here
sir.
we are, episode 29.
We're finally on the final month of the year as well.
Final month of the NFL season. Hope y'all catch episode 28. Bryson and his friend Jeff jumping in on that, taking care of the NBA stuff, but here we are, we're going to talk to you about NFL stuff. It's the weekend after it's the week after Thanksgiving, so I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope y'all enjoyed all the food. Y'all stayed safe. You didn't get hurt playing football.
Say hut.
I had to throw that in there a little bit.
It was fun.
Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had fun with their families. And if for those of y'all that had to work, thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your dedication and your commitment. Yeah, for sure. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into this. We had 3 games on Thanksgiving Sunday. 3 games. And the first 2 games were actually fairly entertaining. Not even going to lie.
Not disappointing at all.
Not disappointed in the first 2 games at all. They were actually somewhat entertaining to watch. We'll get to the last game and how much of a letdown that was. Or not really a letdown. I kind of expected what was going to happen. But that first game.
Even though it started a little slow for the Bears, man, if you catch the second half, pretty good game. It
was a pretty good game. Like, and 23-20, I mean, there's a lot of people who were saying the same thing. It should have gone to overtime or something other than what happened should have happened.
What the Bears did in the last 32 seconds of that game didn't make no sense at all.
Well, it ended up costing their head coach's job because he was relieved of duty the next day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did lose his job the next day, and I mean, It looked like they were going to go that way anyway. They already got rid of their offensive coordinator that they started with in the season anyway. So, only thing I hate about mid-fired coaches during the mid-season is just like, I mean, I guess it's for at least because they have a rookie quarterback. It's like, damn, it's just basically you're going to start over with Caleb Williams next season, especially if you don't believe that your interim coach that you're going to use to finish the season is going to be the head coach for next year. So, I mean, it's a lot of decisions they got to make for sure in that organization. And like I said, those 32 seconds I did not get. There's hearsay here and there that Caleb never got to play, so he just made something up and just went for the jugular, and it just didn't work out. But when you go against a team like that and you had a chance to at least tie to take it to overtime, I mean, at least for the guy's job, he should have did something to try to do that. But he pretty much just wrote his job in stone when that happened. So it didn't surprise me that guy goes away. And now Bears are going to be looking for a new head coach. And they're saying that the number 1 guy right now is the head coach for Notre Dame, which is surprising. I think it's only like a second surprising.
Year. I would actually think the head or the offensive coordinator for Detroit would be a first choice. Ben Campbell, if I'm not mistaken. Ironically enough, the guy that they lost to, or the team that they lost against to on Thanksgiving Sunday.
Right.
I mean, going back to that game, it's crazy, and like we're talking about the last 32 seconds of the game. Even if Caleb didn't have the play and he just kind of made something up, it's just like, yo, you still have that timeout.
He should have done something, spike it, something, but it's
spike it, call the timeout, something. Like,
for NFL team to not even move your ass, turbo. You got to do something in those 32 seconds,
mhm.
especially if you're trying to win a game or at least tie it.
Yeah,
So,
so it was definitely questionable how the ending came down. You know, obviously us as fans, us as spectators, us and the media, we won't know exactly what really transpired in the last 32 seconds within the organization there in Chicago. Um, it sounds to me like there's a lot of he say, she say,
mhm.
finger pointing and whatnot. Um, Ultimately, though, head coach lost his job because of it, and the Chicago Bears fell
Well,
to, or what did they fall to? Fell to 4-8
4
on
and
the
8,
year.
4 and 8.
4-8 on
Detroit
the year.
moves to 11-1.
Detroit is now 11-1, and looking like, I'm gonna say it, looking like the team to beat in the NFL for that matter. The
At
team to
this
beat.
at this point in time, yeah, especially with the record they're having and everything, I think the
Yep.
only team I see that may contend with them if they get to the, I already think Detroit's gonna make it to the championship of the NFC. Who meets them there? I'm gonna say Philly.
I was gonna say Philly.
I mean,
Philly seems like the only other complete team. I would
right.
say Green Bay if they can stay healthy. Um, Green Bay's
That
got a Green Bay's got a really good offense, and playing December or playing winter football,
mhm.
regardless of indoors or outdoors, plays in their favor. So I would say Green Bay would be a good choice, but Philadelphia and Green Bay would be my two number one choices, or would be my two choices coming out of the NFC to oppose Detroit. Because I agree, I think Detroit's going to be automatically there in NFC Championship contention.
Just the way it goes. I mean, obviously for the NFC North, you're gonna get Detroit, the Vikings, and Green Bay. I say in the
Mhm.
playoffs. Detroit gets the home field advantage. The other two are going to have to travel.
Yeah.
They're both pretty good at traveling. So I mean,
Hmm.
one of them, I believe, are going to see Detroit. I don't think we'll be in the championship game, but one of them have to see Detroit, and then the other team will probably have to see Philly in the
Yeah.
divisional rounds for sure.
Yeah. So it's I mean, the thing is, NFC, they've got some really top end teams that can really play.
Right.
Um, Baltimore found that out this past week, where they got smacked by Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, they couldn't get a rhythm at all, and then, man,
couldn't get much of a
I,
rhythm.
I feel sorry for Justin Tucker, man. That guy, for years, this guy was like the number one kicker
Falling
for
off,
everybody. Now,
falling off
10,
grace. Yeah.
he gets his 10th miss of the year, and like that's like just like a head scratcher because you're like you don't believe that when you hear Justin Tucker finna line up for a
Hmm.
field goal. So it sucks for him. I mean, shout out to Dan Campbell for getting his
Hmm.
first Thanksgiving win.
Yep.
He had to win one before Thursday.
Hmm.
But I mean, heck of a game. I mean, crazy how it ended. I kind of wish it was
Crazy
going
how
to
it
go to
ended.
overtime, but
It definitely had its drama. That's for sure. Definitely.
yeah. But I
Definitely.
mean, it started off the Thursday pretty well for sure
Hmm.
when we got to
Absolutely.
that game. Now we go to
Absolutely.
the next game where we go with the Cowboys against the Giants that visited Dallas that Thursday.
Hmm.
Another game that was pretty here and there. I mean, divisional game went back and forth. Cowboys ended up with a pick six, also getting the win 27-20. Drew Lock did okay, but once again, Giants are still the Giants, and the Cowboys, it was just a team that you're supposed to beat. But
Yeah.
entertaining wise, hey, it was entertaining to me for sure. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
I can't complain at all. I mean, that's by
100%.
around that time. That's when food was about to get ready, so it was like, so it was, the drinking was going on. So it was good for sure, for sure. Shout out to the Cowboys. You got y'all win.
Hmm.
Good job. Now they play Cincinnati next week. That had a tough loss against freaking the Steelers. Man,
Yeah,
that was a game
that that was a game. That was definitely a shootout. Um,
shootout. Russell looked like 2016 Russell for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to this Cowboys Giants game, I mean, unless you're like the Ravens, or if you've got like a legit dual threat quarterback, if your quarterback's your leading rusher, you're more than likely not going to win. When Drew
Mm-hmm.
Lock has 4 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown, and he's your leading rusher, That's not a good look.
It's not
So
really a good recipe for sure.
it's not really a good recipe. Now, the only way that works is if you've got like Lamar Jackson or another dual threat quarterback, i.e. Josh Allen, someone or even Anthony Richardson, someone who's known for being a dual threat quarterback or primarily a running quarterback who scores at will like that. Other than that,
Pretty.
that's why you're looking at a Giants team being 2-10, and
They're pretty much going to
let's
be looking for a quarterback this next coming draft. So
absolutely, after parting ways with Daniel Jones and basically chalking it up to that, yeah, they're basically looking on to something new. Last game of the docket was Green Bay and Miami. It
was a sleeper, bro. I ain't gonna lie
it
to
was
you.
a sleeper. The
By that
final was
time,
30-17, but it was over. Honestly, it was over in the first half. It was 24-3 at halftime. I think at that point I was already headed home. I went to go pick up my brother and take him back to my apartment, and we was gonna kick it for the rest of the night. I didn't care about that game. Moment I saw that the Dolphins were playing in an outdoor stadium, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah,
and
man.
at that outdoor stadium up north, yeah, I was good, and it showed.
It showed
very early. It showed very early that they wanted no business to do in the north. But,
yeah, a lot of things happened in that game for sure. They had got the muff punt in the first quarter.
First possession.
Yeah,
they forced Green Bay into 3 and out, and then muffed the punt instantly, giving the Packers the ball at like the 10-yard line or something. It was dramatic. It was instant. But on the stat sheet, you really look at it: Tua 37 of 46, 365, 2 tutties. He had a good game stat wise, but
all that happens when you're you're trying to catch up. You're playing catch up, so now you have to throw the ball. So
exactly,
yeah, he got his yards, but at the end of the day, if you have to play catch up and then you're catching up by 21 points, it's tough, especially when you're not when you're a South Florida team that's playing up in the north. I hate it. I hate it because I have family from Miami. They're a Dolphin fans, so I know they were probably cheering it on, but it got disappointed very, very quick.
Yeah, it was.
By the time I got to halftime, I was already in a food coma. I had the pain pill. I had the pain pill going. I already had something to drink. I was like, I'm just gonna forget about this game.
I was out of there. There was no saving me. I was gone.
Yeah, it was gone.
Just because you mentioned it a little bit, we're gonna talk about it a little audible throwing here. The Steelers Bengals game, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. A little bit of a surprise team this year has been the Steelers. And the only reason why I say that is because they weren't looked over in the sense that it's like, okay, you know what? It's a Mike Tomlin coach team. They'll be there. I wasn't expecting them to be there. Like, they 9-3. They're first place in their division.
Yep.
Like, you're thinking Baltimore, maybe Cincinnati at the beginning of the year. Nah. Pittsburgh is 9-3, bro. They're 9-3. Baltimore's 8-5 after that loss to Philadelphia. Cincinnati's 4-8.
Right. So now it's just on the Steelers how they're going to roll with it, because I'm pretty sure probably their last 4 games is division games. So,
let's take a look at it. Let's see what their last 4. They play. They're at home against the Browns.
I think they got the Ravens one more time.
And then they're on the road against Philly, and then on the road against Baltimore, and then they're at home against Kansas City and at home against the Bengals. So they've got 3 division games. Play the Browns, Ravens, and Bengals, and then they've got the Chiefs and Eagles. Of those 5 games, obviously with division games, you and I both know firsthand how difficult division games can be, especially division games in the AFC North. I don't know what it is with these teams in the AFC North. They could be a hot pile of shit. The moment they're playing somebody else in the North, it's a hoedown, throwdown.
Right. Just think about it when the Browns beat the Ravens, I think just last week, maybe was that last week?
Or no, that was
And
it was
2 weeks
Jameis's
ago.
first.
Yeah, it was
It
2
was
weeks ago.
Jameis's first start. So it was
Yeah.
maybe about 3 weeks to a month ago. It was Jameis's first start, and he comes out there and he's dealing. I think he won like
Mm-hmm.
25-20 or something. It was
Right.
something crazy like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I wasn't expecting the Steelers to be leading the pack. I saw them more as a wild card team. I'm being
Yeah.
honest. I'm being
I thought
honest.
they
I
were,
wasn't
I thought they would
expecting.
struggle this year for sure.
I wasn't expecting Russell Wilson to be having the year that he's having, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to rely heavily on their defense. I thought that's what was going to happen.
I mean,
And in this
that's how
game,
it was for the last couple of years. Always depending
yeah,
on
and that's
defense.
exactly how I was expecting it to be. Instead, Russell Wilson, like you said, looked like 2016 Russell Wilson. 29-38, 414 yards, 3 tutties, and an interception.
My boy was slinging it.
He was slinging that ball around.
And
He was slinging it to.
shout out to Mike Tomlin too, bro. That coaching staff.
That coaching is insanity, man. That coaching is crazy. And here's the thing: like Rust wasn't even the starter at the beginning of the year because he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And they put him in, and all of a sudden, that team just took off. Like December football is now here. I'm very curious to see how this team is going to be moving forward. Hands down.
Hey,
I mean,
like I said, you never know, especially with this NFL season this year. Like I said, said it before.
it's been
It's
wild.
just it's so competitive. Like you just you don't expect the unexpected for sure. And hey, welcome to football. Anything can happen as long as you come to play that every given Sunday. And
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but you've been saying that all year long. Any given Sunday, anybody could win. I mean, it's just that simple.
Right.
You know, I wasn't. I mean, yeah, really looking at some of these scoreboards, I do low key remember looking at the Vegas Kansas City game a little bit, and Vegas was giving the Raiders were giving Kansas City a run for the money. Like, I really thought that could have happened.
If it wasn't for that missed snap at the end of the game, I'm pretty sure Kansas City would have got their second loss of the season. But once again, Kansas City.
You mean the false start? I mean illegal shift, bull crap. Then let's not even fucking get that shit started.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, Kansas City still has luck on their side.
Yeah,
but at least it shows though they're beatable. You just gotta play. Well, I mean, it's been like this for the last few years against Kansas City.
You just gotta
play a perfect game.
Yeah, they're beatable, but you can't be in like a 1-score game with them. You got to be up by them. You got to be up on them by 2 scores, because if it's a 1-score game, you're giving it to the refs to assist them, because they've shown time and time again that if it's between you and the Chiefs, they're giving it to the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, and I don't care what anybody says. I'm not trying to be biased or anything. It's just factual at this point. There is a lot of calls that go the Kansas City Chiefs' way, and it's not called evenly across the board. So
it's not.
It's a shame, but
like I kind of almost missed that game on Friday because I was just like, the Chiefs are gonna just manhandle the
I thought they were gonna win, Raiders. But I don't get me wrong. I was checking back and forth a few times, like, oh shit. Okay,
once I started watching, I was like, I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see what happens, because I mean, like I said, divisional games, you never know what's gonna happen. So it was a battle, but of course, like, it just goes Kansas City's way every time for some odd reason. I don't know who's doing voodoo over there or whatever's going on, but they need to stop for sure.
You would think, but we're gonna get to the main game that we're all here to talk about. Houston Texans went up to Jacksonville, or went not up technically, went across the United States to Jacksonville, take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in good old Duval, Florida. Score was 23-20.
First half was more of a defensive battle for sure.
It was definitely more of a defensive battle, especially in the first half. The first half was ugly. I remember sitting there, you and I was texting back and forth, and at halftime it was 6-3 Texans. 2 field goals versus 1, and I think the kicker, their kicker, had missed a field goal at that point, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it could have been 6-6, but it was really just 6-3. I may be off on that. He may have missed it in the second half. I do know he missed a kick, but real defensive battle, especially in the first half. Second half, things kind of opened up a little bit. However, the highlight, and I don't want to say highlight, but
The
the
biggest point of the game.
the biggest thing that took place during the first half was obviously the hit on Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, by the Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair. Now, I was driving home, and you were kind of keeping me updates on it. Sent me a video, and I mean, I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. It's Aziz's fault for sure. I'm definitely not. I'm never definitely not taking that away from him. But let's not point all the blame on him. Some of it needs
Right.
to go to Trevor Lawrence. And for everyone who's going to be all up in arms about it, Trevor Lawrence was fighting for the first down. He decided to slide late. And even when he was sliding late, he didn't get down right away. That is the problem in the NFL nowadays. We tell quarterbacks to slide, but when they're fighting for the first down, they're waiting till the last possible fucking minute to slide. That is the issue. Now, I'm not taking away what Azeez did. Azeez led with his forearm, and he went, he went with to hit, to go with the blow. He went to go lay the boom. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's, he's 200 plus pounds. It's hard to, change your body direction. I'm not going to go into all the details such as that. He went at him. He was trying to hit him. Hey, hit on the quarterback. He made his decision. Lawrence made his decision. Unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence got knocked out from it. He didn't get knocked out from the hit. He got knocked out from the force of the hit, making him smack his head on the turf or on the ground. That's what knocked him out. But
and that's when you see the fencing, as they call it, when his arms go stiff and up.
When his arms go stiff, his legs went stiff. He just kind of looked, he looked like a statue, basically laying on the ground. It was definitely a terrible scene to see. You definitely don't want to see players getting hurt. Definitely prayers go out to Trevor Lawrence. I do remember seeing a tweet that he posted later that day that he's back home. He's with his family. He's feeling good, or he was feeling better. It's good to hear. It's good. I'm happy to hear that. It's definitely a scary moment. But this goes to, and I actually was listening to a rant by Rex Ryan earlier today, where he's like, we need to teach our quarterbacks to, yes, sliding when they're in the open field and they're giving themselves up and there's no one around. In that situation, though, don't slide. If you got a linebacker or a defensive back coming in on you, dive at his ankles. Because I guarantee you he's going to try and protect his ankles instead of trying to hit you. I mean, that's what he was getting at. They need to teach them how to do it a little differently.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Rex, but at the same time, I mean, it's football, bro. I mean, think about it, bro. 10 years ago, that play would have been a normal play in football, bro. I mean, sadly,
without a doubt.
Sadly, you don't want to see it, but there's certain things that could happen. I mean, like I said, 10 years ago, a play like that happens, and the linebacker gets up and tells the quarterback, "Hey, you better learn to slide a little bit faster than that. Don't take your sweet time, And it's just, like I said, it's just old school football that some people just don't refer to now because things are different. Like I told a coworker today, the NFL actually cares nowadays about people's brain health, unlike back in the day where CTE wasn't really a thing. I mean, it wasn't a general study for NFL. And like I said, like you said, it sucks to see a player get hurt for sure. I mean, there's many things that could have changed, many things that could have happened differently, but it didn't. I mean, sadly, and I'm actually kind of glad that Al-Shaair did get ejected from the game, because honestly, back in the day, that linebacker would have kept playing in the game. He would have just got his penalty and kept playing, and it would have just
it would have continued to build animosity and
right, and it just would have been ugly. It would have been uglier than what it was. I mean, the way he exited, and fans throwing bottles at him and everything. I mean, I get why people are angry. It's not something we want to see now. General health is the most important thing for us as humans. And when you see that, it's like, hey, but sometimes for guys that play football, It's football, bro. I mean,
It's football.
sad thing when me and Kyle were in high school, my defensive coach told me this ain't a contact sport. This is a collision sport.
Yeah.
And, so of course,
Not even that. I remember offensive coordinator, Coach Mason. Shout out to Coach Mason. Yo, this is a violent sport. This is controlled violence. That's what this is. Yeah, that's what they said, controlled violence, but it's not even really controlled. These players get paid to go and hit each other.
Right.
I mean, that's the game. That is the basic premise of the game. Defense, go hit the offense because they have the ball.
Right. One of the main goals play defense is to make sure that their best player doesn't get back up. As bad as it sounds, it's just saying not like to kill the guy, but make sure he's hurting to where he makes the decision like, yeah, I don't want to play more in the game. Like I said, back in the day,
I don't want to run towards this guy again, or I don't want to move. I don't want to go towards this player again because this is how much this hurts. Yeah, it's the nature of the game. So you're not trying to hurt them.
Right. Alshire put his comments too, saying that, it's not his intent to hurt people, but he does play the game how he was. I mean, as he was taught, he was learned to hit the opposing player as hard as he can. So, like I said, mistakes were made. He's gonna get his fine. He's probably gonna get suspended too.
Probably get suspended for a game.
So you live and you learn from it. Like I said, and like even Doug Peterson, what's the head coach for the Jaguars?
It was Doug Peterson.
Okay, that was Patterson. All right, Doug Peterson even said that he knows that DeMeco Ryans doesn't teach that type of football. It's just one of those bang bang plays. And to most people, it just gives you flashbacks of the Dolphins linebacker that hit Joe Flacco years ago as well. Like you said, but at the same time, some quarterbacks got to understand slide a little earlier than anything. I mean, okay, fight for the first down, but if you're gonna fight for the first down, like Rex Ryan said, dive. It's a different story when you dive.
And the reason why this becomes an argument now is because, a lot of quarterbacks, when they're going to the sideline, they're either getting out of bounds
or they fake back in.
And they fake like they're going back in because the defensive back or the defender is easing up because they're going out of bounds. I think I heard someone say Patrick Mahomes did that a couple of weeks ago. It happens in college football all the time. So it's you're already conditioning these defensive players to pull up, and these offensive players can fake like they're going out of bounds or fake like they're going down and then try and get around them. If that's the case, you can't give them that. Right. The league and NCAA has to find a way to fix that, because I understand you want to protect these players, but they can't take advantage of the defensive player. Actually, you're giving up by going out of bounds. If you're going out of bounds, bro, you need to go out of bounds or I'm going to light your ass up.
Yeah, they're finding loopholes. Just like when Kenny Pickett did the fake slide in that one game. Next day, no, that's not allowed. Don't do that no more. They canceled that, So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can always improve when it comes to football. And like I said, it's just something that sucks, but I mean, it's just a bang bang play,
Yeah.
Like I said, Alshire didn't mean it. He has respect for Lawrence and everything, Of course, because everything was just so heated, it just looks like he was the bad guy. And like I said, social media fucking
media and social media,
showing plays when he was when he played for San Francisco, showing the Caleb hit earlier this year, and then when he punched Buddy on the sideline, like I'll tell you this: Alshire is not a dirty player. He's just a tough player.
He's a physical player. That's all he is. He's a linebacker. He's a physical player. He's an aggressive player. There's nothing wrong with that. You want that in the middle of your defense, but to get the gravy train, to get the train rolling. That was the first half.
Right.
Second half, totally different. Second half, we dove into it, and it kicked off in a dramatic fashion. Texans, I believe, went 3 and out.
3 and out.
And Jacksonville went 3 and out. And then the Texans were able to get a score on a Joe Mixon run, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Joe Mixon was the last touchdown. It was Dalton Schultz.
Showing here, Dalton Schultz was in the fourth quarter. Joe Mixon was in the third quarter.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. Joe Mixon ended the game with his runs.
Yes. So up until the third quarter, Jacksonville did a good job of holding Joe Mixon down. He wasn't really getting any running room. He wasn't able to really get the ball rolling. So we were
He
relying
was getting
heavily
frustrated.
He was getting frustrated. We were relying more on the passing game, which in this particular game, shout out to the offensive line. They did their thing. Like I think this was I think if I remember correctly, this was the first game in at least 6 or 7 weeks where CJ was only pressured like 20% of his dropbacks or
Yeah.
27% of his dropbacks, which is, as Texan
Most
fans,
likely,
that's
most likely it was when we played the Patriots. That's probably the only other easiest team that we've freaking faced since that stretch.
But I mean, as Texan fans, that's something that we want to hear because the kid's been freaking pressured every single game.
Right.
He had a respectable stat line, completed 22 of 34, 242 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, the touchdown came to Dalton Schultz in the fourth quarter. Mixon had 20 carries for 101 yards. The majority of that 101 yards came in the second half. That's when he started getting his. That's when he was able to start getting the ball rolling. That's when he was able to start moving the rock and toting it. And then he was able to get his touchdown in the third quarter, which I said to you, I was actually kind of happy and excited to see due to the fact that we haven't had a lot of scoring in the second half as Texan fans. Primarily, we haven't had a lot of touchdowns scored in the second half by for Texan fans. So getting that touchdown run, I was like, oh, snap, 13-6. Yeah, I was all for it. And then Kaimi kicks a 28-yard field goal, which the announcers were talking mad shit about that because they're like,
I
no,
was
well,
scared myself.
outside of 40 yards, he's great, but inside 30, he's hot garbage. And I'm just like, damn, bro, chill the fuck out. No, 28 yards. If I remember correctly, he drilled that fucker right down the center. So, Kaimi comes in 16-6. And then in the fourth quarter, we go on a drive, and Dalton Schultz, 22-yard touchdown pass, wide open, busted coverage. I mean, it was just a busted coverage. Dalton walks into the end zone. This is when all hell breaks loose. After that, the defense, I guess, figured, hey, we're going to win, so we're just going to go to the locker room early. 7 minutes and 49 seconds on the clock. Parker Washington, 22-yard touchdown pass from Mac Jones. They did not get the 2-point conversion, so it's 23-12. 3 minutes, 31 seconds on the clock. Brian Thomas, 6-yard pass from Mac Jones, and they get the 2-point conversion. It's all of a sudden 23-20 game. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what it is with the Texans, but anytime they play against a backup quarterback or quarterback who has struggled in the league, they somehow turn him into a first-round pick and damn near first ballot Hall of Fame.
He's going to be a starter somewhere on another team next year. Watch.
Yeah,
shout out to Mac Jones. I mean, he came out and replaced
20 of 32, 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bro came out slinging it. Slinging it.
So yeah, second half that offense definitely did come to play. I mean, of course they have injuries when it comes to the receiver position. I think
Gabe Davis is out with a knee, and Christian Kirk was out with a collarbone.
Yeah, so but I mean, either way, the other guys did show up. I mean, they made it a game. They had a chance to win. If it wasn't for Joe Mixon getting that first down with 2 minutes left, this could have been a different story for sure. We could have been going for a disappointment because honestly, in those last 2 minutes or those last 3 minutes after they scored their final touchdown, I did not want them to get the ball back. I did not trust our defense. I don't know, maybe because of the missing Al-Shaair. Him not on the field really changed this defense in so many ways.
That changed it a lot, and even we missed the absence of Jalen Petrie. You kind of felt that today as well. I mean, because there were several times where Jimmy Ward got beat, and it was like, I've been hard on Petrie all year in his coverage, but I think he would have been in better position than
Yeah.
than Jimmy Ward was. But I
Jimmy
mean that
Jimmy too old to be covering these young
yeah,
cats, especially
that's why
Brian Thomas, man. That guy's a beast for
and
Jaguars.
dude is a burner, man. He's an absolute
Hmm.
burner. But I remember hitting that 2 minute warning and it was third down and 5. And I remember I'm like that entire wait, I'm like, oh God, what are we gonna
Bro, when
do?
they called the stretch, I was like, oh my God, please make a hole. But luckily Joe did his thing and he's got his
Joe
5 yards and went
I
over
thing is
100
though, I don't
yards.
even know if it was much of a hole because when you see him, he almost winded up to all right, fuck it, I'm gonna bust this as best as I can. And
Yeah,
I mean, it was like he winded up a punch and he was gonna throw it with all he had because that's
right.
exactly what he did. He did that high leg chop and then took off, and I'm like, all right, here we go. And when I see
Hmm.
him sprint across the imaginary yellow line that they have on TV, and he landed 2 or 3 yards past it, I was just like,
Thank God.
I you talk about a sigh of relief. I was
Right.
like, oh my God.
No,
So,
definitely.
but
Look, yeah, so we squeeze out a win against our division opponent. We stay number one in the AFC South. Indianapolis won their game against
no,
against the
I'm joking. I'm
Patriots.
joking. I'm joking. Congratulations, Indianapolis. Y'all fought back for that.
Right. They got their
I give y'all that.
last second win as well. Winning their game
Um,
25-24, I believe it
and
was.
and then Tennessee reverted to back to how they normally are and got their asses waxed by Washington 42-19, which
Hmm.
let's be honest, it was 42-7. That was really the other 12
Garbage
points
time.
was garbage time points. But I mean, it was. There's been good football across the board this year, and
Hmm.
a little shout out. I want to give a little shout out to a couple of players who were benched and then have started for their teams, and ever since they were benched and then came back and started for their teams, they've been playing some good ball. Bryce Young has been playing some really good ball for Carolina. I
Almost
want to
had
give
that
him a
game
shout out.
yesterday.
Give him a shout out. They gave Tampa Bay all they can handle, and I'm telling you now, you get Carolina, you get Bryce Young a little bit of a run game, and you get him a top end receiver, other than because he's throwing it to the likes of Adam Thielen and some other no name receivers. You get him an actual wide receiver and a tight end and a running back.
That whole organization turns around.
That whole organization turns around because he was slinging it yesterday. He's comfortable. He's confident. He knows when he needs to tuck in and run. Bryce Young is looking like that number one overall pick that Carolina invested in him. And another player, Anthony Richardson, has looked like a different player after being benched and coming back. So I got to give them their kudos. I got to give them their shout out. I give them that. Other games on the docket, Rams beat the New Orleans Saints 21-14. I was dead ass asleep for these games. I ended up getting sick last night, so my body was telling me I needed to sleep. Moon
Don't.
could tell you more about that Philadelphia Baltimore game, seeing as how I fell asleep during it.
I
Um,
mean, Philly just took off on that one. I mean, you could just go by stats. Saquon Barkley did his thing. Jalen Hurts did his thing. Uh, I mean, the Philadelphia defense just found a way to contain Lamar and stop Derrick Henry. You in the first half, you thought Derrick Henry was going to have another ball game, but it just shows. I mean, us as Texas fans, we've gone against Derrick Henry many times, and we all know when it comes to going against Derrick Henry, you got to come to tackle, and that's
this
what
is
Philadelphia did.
this is how you beat Derrick Henry. You stop him at the line of scrimmage, he's done. It's
You
when
get
he
him.
gets ahead of steam. When he gets ahead of steam and he goes through the line of scrimmage, that's when he's dangerous. He's got to get that head of steam. If you stop him at
Mm-hmm.
the line of scrimmage, you got a chance to corral him and keep him. If you don't,
Mm-hmm.
you're in for a long night.
Right.
And
When it
just
comes, go ahead.
mhm.
Go ahead.
No. I was gonna move on to the next game. Keep going.
Okay, I was gonna say when it comes to the Rams and Saints game, I didn't watch it, but speedy recovery to Taysom Hill. I mean, he's one of my favorite players out there. He's
Oh
a
yeah, I think
sweetheart
he.
star. He messed up his knee injury, got carted off, probably be done for the season.
Yeah,
But I mean, shout out to the cat man. This dude when he played for BYU years back, most of the time he would get injured with ankle injuries and stuff like that in college. I mean, to have the career he had in the NFL, it was unexpected, especially with all the injuries coming out of college. But I mean, he's definitely been a key player for the Saints for years.
For years, yeah. No, you took the
So
words right out of my mouth. For
speedy
years.
recovery to him for sure.
Speedy recovery for a lot of guys, man, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of guys who went down with injuries this week. If I remember reading it correctly, going into the next game, Buffalo waxed the 49ers 35-10. Like, that wasn't even a game. Christian McCaffrey tore his PCL, so he's out for the year. And the backup running back after him, I guess he messed up his ankle, a high ankle sprain. He's out for the year. So it's like a lot of these guys getting hurt, man. You don't want to see that as fans. You know, we talked about that with Trevor. It's like, even as Texan fans, I don't want to see anybody getting hurt, even if it's from a rival. Because at the end of the day, man, these are grown ass men that they got to go home and provide for their families. They got to go home and be with their family.
They're just trying to make a livelihood, man. It's like if
they're trying to make a livelihood.
It's like us normal people. We lose our job. We're in a struggle. Imagine them, especially when it comes to injuries. I mean, luckily, maybe they have plans for when it comes to when they get season-ending injuries.
Yeah.
But you don't want that, man.
But you don't want to see anybody get hurt. And
just like we wake up to go to work and want to come back home safe, it's the same for them, man. We want them to go play a great game and come back. So
exactly. So it's, you hope for a speedy recovery, you hope for a safe recovery, but you never want to see anybody get hurt. It was as messed up it was a devastating injury that happened with Trevor Lawrence. We don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen with any of these guys.
Right. I mean, just earlier this year we had the scare with Tua where everybody's considering making him retire.
Yeah, the scary hit with Tua. I think it was an eerily similar situation with that happened with Trevor, and Tua. Thank God for Tua. He's come back and it looks like he's regained some of his form, but it looked like he took a couple of hits in that game against Green Bay when he was in the pocket, and it's just like every time you see him get hit, you hold your breath because it's like at this point it's not just the player, you're worried about the man.
Right.
And that's the thing that
you're not even lying, bro. At the end of the day, football is just football, man.
Football's just football. I think Mike, I don't remember I think his name, it's Mike something. I don't remember his last name. The head coach for the Miami Dolphins. He actually told Tua, he was just like, I forgot exactly the quote, but it was essentially, look, you're a football player, but you've got to be a player for your family too. You've got to be a man for your family, or you got to be a family man as well.
Right.
If you can't be that man if you're constantly getting hurt. He's not wrong. The more concussions you have, the more you're not going to be there later on in life. And that's when your family's really going to need you, is later on in life. It's like football. Right. It's like you said, football is just a game. And I think a lot of people take that for granted.
Right. So, and then, some of these players that come in young, coming from prosperity, getting their families out of horrible situations. So they feel like they have to keep going. I mean, I don't know Tua's situation, but I'm pretty sure he lived an okay life growing up, but football's football, man. At one point, even me and Kyle had to make a decision. Do we want to keep playing football or not?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm glad football did make me who I am now. I love the game. It's heart. I still get hurt by it.
Yeah, he still gets.
I still get hurt by it. But
I mean, it's a brotherhood that I didn't think I'd. It's a brotherhood I never thought I'd have, but I do. I met Moon through football. I met another one. I met two of my other boys, Tuck and Arebe, from football. It's a brotherhood that some people don't truly understand unless they're in it. But at the end of the day, it's a game. And like Moon said, we had to make a decision. It's like, am I gonna kill my body even more than I already have? I had 2 knee injuries my senior year because of football.
Facts. My senior year, I was hurt every other game.
Yeah,
my senior year. So
it's just like as a senior year, senior year in high school, I got two knee injuries, and I'm popping, Vicodin and fucking Advil and Tylenol and Aleve and shit just from the aches and pains of that. I'm not gonna put my body through that for the rest of my life. I'm already undersized, so it's like, you know, it it's a testament to what these men put their bodies through, not only every game but every year, and a lot of these guys do it for 8, 9, 10 years. So
Right. If they
it
get lucky enough, for sure.
if they get lucky enough to do that, so it's that's the one thing that us fans, we can't take that for granted. Yeah, we look at them and they look like, oh, they're gladiators, and they're fighters on the field, they're players on the field, but the one thing that we got to take into consideration is the man inside the helmet, the man
Right.
inside them shoulder pads.
It doesn't
You know,
matter what technology and new equipment makes every year. Then
right,
it's higher. It's a higher risk to get hurt than be protected when it comes to football. When it comes to these hits,
right,
now they got guardian caps and stuff. I mean, that still doesn't prevent you from getting a hand injury or nothing like that.
exactly.
So,
I mean, it's at the end of the day, football is going to be football. Whatever can happen will happen, and
hmm
as we learn every single week, anything can happen.
right,
So it's true shout out to these players, man. That's something that I feel like us fans don't give a lot to. It's not just Texan fan, or it's not just Texan players. Everybody, every single player, every single football player who suits up and goes out and plays the game to not only entertain us, but to support their families, but to also go out there and play for their teams. A shout out to y'all, man. And it's not
right,
just NFL players either. Got to give it to the college players too.
right.
College
A
players
lot.
go out there, and they're going out there and then still having to go and be a student as well. So it's like, it's
And a lot of these guys are first time college students or for their
yeah,
families. So it's new challenges for them as well. Not just the
absolutely.
game, but to also to understand to keep yourself in college. Because I mean, without that, I mean, at the end of the day, football got them there,
Hmm.
but the grades are what keeps them there.
Right.
Without so also get your education right as well. I mean, like I said, everything you do in life, always think about it before doing it, for sure. We learned that as growing up as men.
Hmm.
We love football, but any sport, man, any sport that you play, it doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, baseball. If you play that sport, you know the sacrifices you made to be in that sport.
Exactly. 100%. You said it
You
right on
know,
the nail. So, that's all I got for this week's episode, man. You got anything else you want to add, or
nah, man, that's pretty much it. I mean,
we
Texans going to their bye week, so we have a bye week next week. We'll see what episode we'll make for sure. We'll probably watch maybe a division rival or
probably
something.
watch
We'll
some divisional games, or we'll end up watching some games and doing a recap. As always, y'all, we truly appreciate everything that y'all do for us, reaching out to us, liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, giving us the middle finger, giving us a thumbs up, whatever the case is, man. We truly appreciate the love and support that y'all
hmm
give. The constructive criticism that y'all might have. We truly appreciate it. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell the homeless man at the end of the street, tell whoever you got to tell, you know, episode 29, man, we're almost there. We're almost to the big 3-0,
3-0.
almost there. So
Yes, sir.
it's truly a blessing. We truly love y'all. Thank you so much. You know, I appreciate it. It started off as something that Bryson and I talked about, and finally we kind of were like, you know what, let's start it off with last year's Super Bowl. Then that's what we did. We didn't. It's still going the way it's going right now, and we're still trying to work
Work
out
the
some
kinks.
kinks, and yeah, work out some kinks, work out some things, make it better. See if we can communicate more. But
Yes, sir.
it's just how football is, it's a learning process. This is new to us too. So
Right.
whatever y'all got to offer, any advice y'all have, please, as always, reach out. So if anything, man, y'all have a wonderful week. Y'all stay safe. Don't go play football and hurt yourself, Moon. Um, as always, man, y'all have a wonderful week. We'll holla at you next week. Later.
Peace.